talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lamone, and this is Spider-Man, and this is the weekly breakdown where we give our predictions for the following weekend for the movies that are coming out and tell about the results of what happened the previous weekend. And we also give the storylines about how we think those indications are going to imply into how the following weekend is going to presume of our predictions, and of course, a movie review here and there. So, without further ado, let's make it do what it do. And last weekend, number one was The Suicide Squad, the new James Gunn flick. Made $26.3 million, but it was estimated for $30 million, and with a budget of $180 million, this is not a good showing. It is a flop, regardless of everything that's going on. More on that later. In second place is Jungle Cruise, making a $15.8 million weekend. As previous weekend, it made $35 million, and it was the number one movie at the box office. In third place, it is Space Jam: A New Legacy, in a very, very shocking surprise, as 2 weeks ago, it was sixth place at $4.3 million, and $4.3 million was enough for third this week. It's a strange time that we're living in, folks. You can go from sixth to third. That doesn't usually happen. Alright, in the number fourth spot, we have Old at $4.1 million. It made $6.8 million last weekend, and it was the number 2 seed. And rounding up the top 5 is Black Widow at $3.9 million. At last weekend, it made $6.4 million and was the number 4 seed. So, now, let's get into the storylines of all of this. First of all, the Suicide Squad flopping. I know a lot of people are trying to make the case like, no, this wasn't a flop, this wasn't a flop. Now, I mean, $180 million, and that's just to make the movie. I don't think that goes into marketing. So, this movie has to make, I believe, 3 times more than what the initial budget was, because you got how much it made to make the movie, then you have the payment of the theaters, and how much it costs for you to make your trailers and all that stuff. Now, why do I think it failed? Why do I think it failed? Well, there's a lot of factors into it. First of all, the title itself. To me, the title itself is the main factor that goes into why this movie flopped so hard. The Suicide Squad. Now, I am someone who did not mind the original Suicide Squad, the very first one, directed by David Ayer. I actually thought it was kind of fun. I had some enjoyment in it. Do I think it was great? No, I think it was good. It was fine. It was a fine movie. If someone wanted to watch it again, I would watch it with them. Like, I have no hate for Suicide Squad, but a lot of people did. I think it had like, what, a 20% for critic rating, and I think the audience was like 40 or 60. Like, a lot of people were not a fan of it. So I think you see a title called The Suicide Squad, you're just like, so it's the same movie pretty much? Pass. And also the trailers itself, you know, like, it's just so wacky, and I think it's just so out there for the general public. Now, people like you and me who really love movies and love these stats and numbers and all of that, we're not going to really care about that. But I think a general person who, like, you know, they enjoy going to the movies, but it's like, it's not their passion like me and you, they're going to be like, okay, the shark talks. Cool. Oh, John Cena said butthole. Haha. There's a polka dot man? A rat catcher? No thank you. Like, it just seems so far out there that I don't think the trailers really did us justice to really bring in just the casual folk. Also, the third factor to me is the R rating. It's the R rating. Let's just call it like it is. R-rated movies do not do as succeed. Sure, there is that very few diamonds in the rough, like a Deadpool or the Joker, which is the only billion-dollar R-rated movie. But R-rated movies usually don't do that well. The first Suicide Squad was PG-13, and it made over $700 million, and it had the ability to bring in a lot more people, like children. A lot of parents probably see the R rating like, no, you're not going to go see that movie. You're not going to go see that movie at all. Now, if you're like my theater, where a bunch of... True story. I'm being dead honest. True story. There was a bunch of families in the theater. I was like, I wonder if they know. And literally like 15 to 20 minutes, I think it was the scene where Idris Elba's Bloodsport, I think that's his name, Bloodsport, and his daughter are cussing each other out, a bunch of families walked out. They're like, yeah, no, we can't watch this. We can't watch this with y'all. Another factor, of course, is HBO Max, and another factor is, of course, the pandemic that's going on with the Delta variant and all that stuff. A lot of people are being a lot more cautious with how they're going out now. Of course, that is a factor, but I think the main factor is the title itself and the R rating in the trailer third over the pandemic. To me personally, I think it's those things. I think if they would have called this movie like The Suicide Squad Amped, and like I think that part would have been like, oh, it's amped. Oh, it's R rated. Okay, let me go check this out. I think that part would have made it make a little more, but I think with an R-rated movie in general, you're looking at 30-40 million opening tops. This just had a lot going against it. And also, the DCEU is just not as successful as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is why a Guardians of the Galaxy will succeed, but a Suicide Squad will have a struggle, even if they're both directed by the same person. And he did absolutely phenomenal. So, look, they deserve the title. They deserve the title. And I mean, they have a 16-time champion with John Cena. And he's going for his 17th. And I think, next week against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. But that's besides the point. They deserve the title being number one. And I think they deserve the title for being number one for a while. But it had just had so much adversity going against it. It just wasn't going to happen. I have been actually saying this. If you follow me through the podcast days, when this was the Lemon Podcast on SoundCloud, and we were talking about the Suicide Squad, how successful it will be, I was like, no, this movie's going to flop no matter what. Even if this, and that's pre-pandemic, even before the pandemic, I was like, this movie's going to flop no matter what because of the burden of the first one. No matter what, it just wasn't going to do well, especially with the title itself. So that's why I think the movie flopped. But what I think about the movie overall, I absolutely fucking loved it. And I have to cuss because, like, I just absolutely love it. It is by far my favorite movie of 2021, without a shadow of a doubt. Just from start to finish, I was laughing, I was hollering, I was having a good time. I saw it 5 times. This past weekend. I saw it twice in theaters, and I watched it 3 times at home. And I really tried to get some my friends to go to the theater with me, but they're like, we can watch it on HBO Max. And so I watched it with them again, and I watched it on HBO Max. I think that was my 3rd time, which was my first time on HBO Max. No, my 2nd time on HBO Max, because I went... Anyway. So I absolutely loved it. I think it was absolutely great. I mean, the Weasel parts had me busting out laughing. My favorite scene is definitely between Peacemaker, who is played by John Cena, and Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba, and they're just trying to get the best kill the whole time. And then what turns out after they do this freaking massacre, trying to one-up each other with their kills, my side was hurting because I was laughing so hard, and I absolutely love King Shark. His whole little mini arc and like just the storytelling that James Gunn was able to do with King Shark without saying one line of dialogue was absolutely fantastic. And Harley Quinn, this is the best Harley Quinn has ever been from her own movie, the other Suicide Squad. Absolutely phenomenal. And I also loved how, like, even without saying Joker's name at all, you still feel his presence throughout the whole entire movie when Harley Quinn is on screen, and and some of the decisions she's making and some of the things she's doing, like, you're just like, oh, yeah, Joker is still very well in her head, and just with the aura, like, his presence is always there around Harley. Absolutely love that, and they didn't say his name, not even once. And, like, you just feel it. You just feel it. I hope y'all caught that too, because, like, I feel like I'm the only one, because, like, I'm the only one who's like, did anyone else just, like, feel Joker's presence throughout the movie? But let me know in the comments below if you felt that as well. Alright, next up in the storylines is that should we expect lower numbers with the Delta variant? I think so. But, like, not super low. I'm thinking, like, 20, 30. We're not going to have another $90 million opening. not for a while anyway. I do still think in November we have a good chance with Eternals, but I think in September and October, as much as I want Dune to do it, because I'm really, really looking forward to Dune, I just don't see September and October having that 100 mil. I think we might not get to the 100 mil mark until maybe November or December, but for now, for the rest of August into September and October, I'm thinking between 20 to 40. Maybe we'll get a 50 and 60 here and there, but I really don't think we'll get to a 90 like what Black Widow did. I honestly don't think we're going to have that anymore. Next up is the Black Widow done in the top 5. I think so. I think this is it. Now, before everyone Black Widow was a failure, it was a bomb, female shouldn't lead in movies, shut up. This is basically run-of-the-mill MCU stuff. It has the biggest opening in the whole entire pandemic era. A lot of people saw it the opening weekend, so of course, the following weekends is going to keep disintegrating. The more people who see it up front, the less people are going to see moving forward. Look at Avengers Endgame. It made $1 billion this opening weekend, and then it went to like 50 million on the second weekend, and that had a lot of leading men. So just stop with this Black Widow hate. It's a success for what it is, and in the situation that it was put in. Is it going to make the studio money all the way back? No. Is the Suicide Squad going to make its money all the way back? No, but it's going to make a little less than what Black Widow is doing for Disney as what the Suicide Squad is doing for DC. I just want to make that clarification of why I think Suicide Squad is a failure and Black Widow is not. Okay? And I like the Suicide Squad a lot more than Black Widow. I am just pointing that out there, okay? I'm not a Marvel lover. I'm just calling it like it is. Alright, moving on. Alright, let's get into these the newbies. New Guy, Don't Breathe 2, and Respect. Now, which ones am I looking forward to the most out of all 3 of these? I am a horror junkie. I just really love horror, and I just love going to see the new horror movie. But I am leaning more towards Free Guy. I just really, really enjoy the trailers. I think the trailers have been just top-notch, absolutely entertaining, and the reception has been well so far for the people who have seen it. It's been getting a lot of very good reviews. A lot of very good reviews for it. And I believe out of the 3, Respect has also gotten very good reviews. I'm just not a fan of biopics, especially with singers. To me, it's the same pattern for the most part. Some of them I do enjoy. I really enjoy Rocket Man, the Elton John one. I really enjoyed that one. Bohemian Rhapsody was okay. I didn't love it. I can admire the good parts in it, but I don't love the movie. And then, Straight Outta Compton is one that's also very good. But to me, it's just the same pattern. They had a troubled life young. They rise to the top. Oh, they have a drug addiction, or a loved one holds them back. They conquer, and then, woo, everything is good. And then some of them actually go the tragic route, which I actually respect. Oh, though, Dirt. Dirt is probably my favorite music biopic, because that one was just bonkers all the way through. I love Aretha Franklin. I like her music. I just don't like biopics that much. That's all. And Don't Breathe 2, I like Don't Breathe 1. I'm just not a fan of the trailer. And also, Don't Breathe 2 is the only one that does not have any reviews out yet, which is a little bit of a red flag for me since we're heading into the week that it is going to premiere. And if the studio is holding reviews up and not letting people say what they think about the movie, if they're even letting people see it, that's a huge red flag to me to say, the movie's not good. It's not good. Don't come see it because we're embarrassed. So or the only way they think that people will come see is if we don't say nothing at all and people really like the first one, they'll come see this one anyway, so we're not going to have the people bash it yet. It just seems like a huge red flag to me, and also just the trailers itself, he's the good guy now? This guy just went from the villain, the main killer, and was going to do some fucked up shit to this female. If you haven't seen the first one, I'm not even going to explain because it just makes me sick, and not many movies actually make me gag out loud. That movie did, with what he was doing and what she does to him to get payback, which he totally deserved, and now I'm supposed to cheer for him? No, thank you. I'm still gonna see it. But I'm gonna be a little pessimistic going in. I'm gonna try my best to leave my feelings at the door, but I really don't want to root for this guy. I really hope they subvert my expectations, because the trailers are not doing it for me, Chief. So, now, without further ado, let's get into what we think the top 5 will be for this weekend. At number 1 is the obvious choice. I'm going with Free Guy. Now, the projections have this coming in like a 20 or 24. I'm actually feeling very optimistic. I think the trailers have been good. It has very, very good word of mouth. I am having this coming in at $32 million. I have that being the number 1 winning number, is $32 million. I know it's projected for a lot less, and I also said, yeah, expect lower numbers heading for a while, but I think Free Guy, because everyone loves Ryan Reynolds. The dude can do no freaking wrong. And again, the trailers have been great. So I really have a lot of upside for this movie. I'm going with the 32. I'm going to trust my gut on this one. We'll see if he lets me down this time around. And number 2, I have Don't Breathe 2. And this is something that, I'm going to sound like a broken record. People like to go to the movies to get scared. During the pandemic era, the 2 main genres that have been keeping the theaters alive is 1, action, and 2, horror. Those are the 2 main driving forces that are keeping us in business, baby. And I do think a lot of people are going to see Don't Breathe 2 because they are a fan of the first one. The first one is really good. Regardless of what I think the movie's going to be super bad, and I think the reviews are going to come out, they're like, yeah, this movie's bad. I think a lot of people are going to go see it, and just because it's a horror movie. And number 3, I have The Suicide Squad coming in at $12 million. It is projected for 12. Oh yeah, the projections for Don't Breathe 2 is $13.2 million. And did I say how much I think it was going to make? I have 16. I think it's going to do a lot more. I'm very optimistic about this weekend. I think a lot of people want to see Free Guy, and a lot of people want to see Don't Breathe 2. So yeah, I got Don't Breathe 2 at 16 million. But it was projected for like 13.2. But I have a very, very optimistic mindset. And for The Suicide Squad, I have 12 million. It is projected for 10. But again, very optimistic, and I think the very good word of mouth. I know it's been a kind of hit or miss for the general public. I know some people don't like it, but I think a lot more people do like it, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, hey, give this movie a shot. And I do think they're going to go to the theaters to go see it because people want to get out still. Even though some people do want to be more restricted and be safe with the Delta variant, but I also made my stance earlier. I don't think people are as worried of the Delta variant as when COVID was at its peak. So I think with the good word of mouth that people will option to go to the theater, then to watch on HBO Max, to watch The Suicide Squad, which is why I think it will have not a better showing, but I do think it's going to have legs moving forward. I think this will probably be the longest running HBO Max movie to stay within the top 5 if it can keep it going. Alright, in number 4 seed, I got Jungle Cruise making $9 million. Dwayne Johnson is box office. There's no case in point about it, and Emily Blunt is also box office as well, and their chemistry is freaking great. I have yet to see the movie. When this movie came out, it was during rent time, and I just couldn't afford to go to the movies, and I just haven't made time for it, because typically to me, I like The Rock. I'm going to make time to go see his movie because I am a wrestling fan, obviously, and I always support my wrestlers, even the ones that I just know the movie's going to be bad. Looking at you, CM Punk, with the Third Floor movie on Netflix. I watched that. But I did it for you, CM Punk, if you're watching. Like, I always support Batista, I support John Cena no matter what, I support The Rock no matter what, but The Rock, to me, all his movies are basically the same. He's in a jungle, he's wearing tan, maybe he fights a gorilla. I just think, I want to see Dwayne and other things now. I want him, like the day I see Dwayne Johnson in a horror movie, I'm like, okay, I am very intrigued, I will rush out to see that, even if it comes out during Red Month. Or Dwayne Johnson does a drama, I will also rush out But now I'm like, Dwayne Johnson, the newest action movie. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm gonna see it, but I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm not gonna rush out to go see it. It just is what it is. I might go see it next weekend because I don't really plan on seeing Respect, and I might wait on Don't Breathe 2 for a little bit, and I'll probably do a double feature of Jungle Cruise and Free Guy. Alright, and rounding up the top 5, I got Respect, making $7 million. That's not just because I don't like biopics. I just think this is gonna be like an old. This is gonna be like an old that's just kind of, no one's gonna rush out to go see it, but people are gonna go see it. They might not make it the first weekend, but they'll make it the second weekend, or the third weekend, or even the fourth. At some point, people will see it. Like me, at some point, I will see it, but I'm not gonna rush out to go see it. So, yeah, so I got $7 million coming out for that one. So that is my predictions. What do y'all have your top 5 being? Please comment below, let me know. And if you also like this video, please give it a thumbs up, as it helps me gain more attraction. Also, hit that subscribe button if you liked hanging out with me for the few minutes and talking about movies. And please let me know some suggestions about what you think that I should do going with the channel moving forward. If you really like this stuff, great. But I'm always in the mood to do some different things as well. So comment below and see what are some other things that you would like to see me do entertainment-wise. It does not have to be movies. It could be TV. It could be anything else. So just comment below, let me know. Let's have a conversation in the comments, and let's get to know each other. And until next time, guys, I will see you here at Lemon Studios.